Hello, this is Ross Taylor, Alameda Internet Marketing, with a short video talking about something that has come up a lot for me lately from my clients as they're getting emails from salespeople, etc. ADA compliance for your website. So many years ago, you might have heard of business owners getting sued. Maybe they didn't have a ramp, a wheelchair ramp up to their front door, or maybe there wasn't enough handicap parking. Maybe there wasn't a disabled restroom, or maybe a water fountain was too high for someone to reach if they're in a wheelchair. And there's laws in place to protect these people um, and to protect everyone so that we all have the same experience no matter where we go, or an equal experience. And basically they're good, but there's lawyers out there that went out looking for opportunities to sue people, and basically this whole law practice is built around suing small businesses and building owners for ADA compliance. So the same thing's happening now in the web. Um, a website has to be ADA compliant as well, because so much of what we do happens to the web, especially, we've just come through 2020 with the pandemic. How much of us spent time on our computers, ordering food, or kids doing school and all that kind of thing. There has to be an equal experience for everyone. So ADA compliance on your website is quite important. I don't have the solution for you today, but what I do have is some guidance on what you should do. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a ADA compliance specialist. I just want to share my opinion, my professional opinion, and some of my findings, um, and what I think of the solutions that are out there. So basically, a lot of people are getting emails that say something like this. Hey, Joe, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but there's been a massive surge in ADA lawsuits targeting businesses who use free accessibility plugins like Userway. So this one was actually targeted to a business that is using a plugin, but it's a free, no frills plugin that's supposed to solve all the issues. My name is Bob, and I'm reaching out to website owners to bring this to their attention before trying to do the right thing results in exposing your website to a lawsuit. Okay, so what he's saying is this website owner is using Userway, and they're saying, get your, you understand your intentions. You're trying to make your website accessible, but that solution doesn't work. We have a better solution to help you better understand your website's current accessibility standard. I've audited your website and attached the report as a PDF, and the PDF will be generated by this company. It's not generated by any board that oversees compliance or anything like that. I mean, it's just them putting out a report that says, here's what we think, is wrong with your website. And so, what's going to make a website not ADA compliant? Well, imagine if you're visually impaired and you sit down at your computer, how do you look at a website? Well, if you were visually impaired, you would have some sort of add into your browser or something that would read the content on the page back to you as you were tabbing through or using some sort of control mechanism to get through the website. And when you hit a picture, ideally, the website should be able to read back to the user, this is a picture of, and describe what that picture is. If someone was maybe colorblind, or maybe, there's all kinds of visual impairments, that if there's not enough contrast on a screen, or maybe this text is too small, or whatever else, you're not going to be ADA compliant. And so it is important. And so there's these plugins out there. So some examples would be Accessiby, Equal Web, Max Access, and that last one was Userway. And so what these guys do is they drop there's more than these out there. And I'm not calling out any of these saying they're bad guys or anything like that, but we'll get to that in a minute. So these guys, what they'll do is you sign up, and then you can either pay or there's some free solutions, and you'll get a little icon on your website. And when you click this icon, you can do different things like change the contrast, so this makes it easier for someone to read, to make the text bigger. Look at that. Line spacing, all kinds of things. Turn off any videos, animations, make it friendly for dyslexia. I'm not sure what it does exactly. I think it kind of, see how the text is kind of funky around the edges there, and that may aid someone who has dyslexia. And make the cursor all huge, all kinds of things, right? So this is supposed to make it easier. I can't get out of it. I don't know how to turn it off. Reset? Yeah, all right. So this tool is supposed to make it easier for someone who's disabled, like this gentleman here, to use the web. And so here's an example. I have no idea. I just found this business by looking up what is it, Userway, and found that this company uses Userway. Just did a search and found this website uses it. So they have that tool on their site. So I can click the contrast button, and whoa, look at that. And so apparently, if I was maybe colorblind, if I maybe had issues with my vision, this just takes all the pictures out and leaves the text, or maybe it'd be better off if I looked at it in black and white. I don't know. This one highlights the links, so I know where all the links are. And, on face value, it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. But unfortunately, according to many experts, this is actually worse. It causes problems because someone who is not, someone who is visually impaired may already have tools or may already have the browser set up to go through the web and look at everything. And this breaks that availability. It breaks the ability to use the web page because this can get in the way. And as you saw there, it was a little bit, it wasn't immediately obvious how to turn it off, and I was kind of stuck in the program there, right? So that kind of thing happens. So particularly this business here, they're based in Israel, and I was looking for a solution to offer my clients and couldn't, just wasn't sure what to do. And so I went through a webinar with these guys. They signed me up as a reseller, but I couldn't in good conscience sell it to anyone. And, or definitely, not to my clients. They trust me to give them the best possible experience and give them the best possible advice. And it's just, to me, it just doesn't seem right. And I'll tell you why. There's so many citations out there that it's not a good thing. It's just not. It causes issues more than anything else. And so here's an article from a law firm, and basically, one thing is you may end up making yourself a target by having these plugins on your site, because as you saw, it was easy for me to find that credit union, right, based on the fact that they had that plugin added. But the guidelines are meant for webmasters and web designers and web developers to build into their web sites just an inherent usability for everyone, no matter who you are. These tools come in with a quick fix. They say they're going to label all your images for you. They're going to set up, and then you've got those little tools that change the contrast and all that. But there's so many citations that say people using these tools and have been taken in by false promises end up getting sued. There's basically, headlines: using an overlay wastes money, does not build accessibility. The widget itself creates barriers for people, and more. So there's that, and there's another website. This one here, overlaysdon'twork.com, and this is the one that convinced me that it's just not right. This gives you some feedback on overlays and what's going on with them and how to use that. But there's this article, where did my mouse go? When the treatment is worse than the disease, and things like that. And there's this blog here all about ADA compliance, and and why accessibility overlays are snake oil. And there's a recent NBC News article, avoid Accessibility and other companies claiming quick and easy AI accessibility. Vice has remarked on that as well. And if you read into it, and you see all the foundations and organizations and nonprofits that are saying no, don't use these things. No one's hearing them, but these folks, the companies like these, they have very, very aggressive salespeople, and they're targeting us using fear, saying, you have to use this or you're screwed. You're going to get sued. And I would argue that it's possible that you might be more likely to get sued by using these tools. So what's the answer? I don't have it, other than make sure your website is ADA compliant when it gets built. And that may mean building a new website. It may mean massive retrofit in an existing website. It depends on how big your website is. I would say that the focus is going to be on websites that are e-commerce, because they're more likely to be used by someone wanting to shop and having that shopping experience. And so there's an easy target for someone to sue over. Another is if you're a hotel or a restaurant, somewhere that's public facing that people can go in, cafes, but definitely retail shops. I would think the last targets would be professional businesses like plumbers and things like that, or attorneys, or businesses that don't necessarily have a front-facing business where someone goes in to visit them all the time necessarily. They might call them up over the phone or deal with them that way, but definitely any business should be worried about this, or should have this on their radar. And so what I've been doing, and I'll share with you what I'm doing, is using tools like WebAIM, and they have a Chrome plugin that's quite handy. So I can click on that plugin, and it'll show me all the elements on the site, and it'll tell me if there's any errors, if there's any contrast errors. It'll tell me, if the structure of the page is set up correctly and things like that. And this gives me guidance, and helps me to create websites now that do handle these things, that do cover all these bases. And so let's see, there's no images on this page, or there's an image here. So I think it says introduction. Let's see. List. I'm not sure, but it should tell us. Yeah, there you go. Person using a screen reader with a mobile phone. So let's say I'm blind, I'm using this website and it's reading back to me what the content is, and then I get to this part and I'm blind, I have no idea what this picture is, and then the webmaster has marked up this image using an alt tag to say this is a person using a screen reader with a mobile phone. And so it's like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Or person using a mouth wand to operate a computer keyboard. That's very helpful. Thank you very much, web designer. So unless you have these things in place, you're at risk. So I recommend taking steps to work on correcting your website. And it's not going to be cheap, and it's not going to be easy like these guys say it is. They say you just click a button and it's effortless and you're compliant. But I don't know. I don't like it. And so I wouldn't recommend that. What I would do is use this and go through your site and see what you can do to correct these elements and do your best. And you're not going to be able to fix everything. And especially if your website has content that goes up all the time, or you've got a blog that gets added to all the time. And what do you want? And people on your team are updating your website. It's not just one person. Maybe there's multiple people that update a website. They may not. Maybe they'll post a new page or a new blog and they don't add in the alt tag to the image. There you go. You've lost compliance. So it's something that has to be looked after all the time, which is a pain in the butt. But if you can do your best to cover these bases and make sure that there's no contrast errors, there's no errors according to this tool, maybe there's alerts, but you've taken care of anything that's major, that, is going to be a huge roadblock to someone like this fella who just wants to, go shopping online or whatever else, you know, that's, you'd want to fix that. And after you've done that, I would recommend creating an accessibility statement on your website. So the W3.org, the Web Accessibility Initiative, with the Web Standards Committee, have set up this tool where you can say, here's the name of my business, here's my website address, my address, and we believe, and again, I'm not an expert on this stuff, so I'm not even going to get into it, but you can say what level, you believe you follow, and you can say what level your conformance is. So are you fully conformant? You're 100% certain that there's not a single issue on your entire website. You can say that. But you can also say you're partially conformant, or you can say you're non-conformant, or you can say it's not been assessed. So I would do my best to say partially and explain what you've done to make your website as compliant as you possibly can, and put in a statement to say, if you find something that's an issue, please, this is the person you reach out to, and we're making initiatives in our business to try and make ourselves as accessible as we can. Do all that. And that would go on your website, maybe in your footer statement next to your privacy policy, have an accessibility statement. And with that, you're at least saying, look, we're trying, we're doing our best, we're making an effort to put in this real changes into our website, or we started the initiative and we expect to be done by this date, or whatever it is. You're acknowledging that it's important that everyone has equal experience. And you're not going to be screwing people up, the folks that really need accessibility, that are coming to a site that uses one of these tools and then ends up breaking their experience, and they maybe get stuck in the window or whatever else, and it's just it's just not ideal. And based on reading different blogs about it, different news stories, different actual court complaints where people lost and people got sued that were using these tools, I can't in good conscience recommend them at all, even though I've got a reseller license, which will probably be taken away if anyone sees this, and which I haven't used. Yeah, I just don't think it's a good idea. So get with your web team, or if you manage your website yourself, or get with your web team and start having conversations about it. I wouldn't say it's something you have to do right now. I don't think that getting one of these tools as a stopgap until you do it the right way is a good idea either. I just don't think these tools should be supported as a solution in any way. And that is my take on it. So there you go, web accessibility. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, Facebook. Go to my website, it's alamedaim.com, or send me an email. All right, and I hope this helps, and I hope this answers some questions. But if it left you with more questions than answers, again, please feel free to reach out to me. All right, bye-bye.